you should or you shouldn't wear a burqa, hijab, niqab in the UK. Let's find out what people think.
Slightly upon a point here.
Okay.
Islam in this country is a proselytizing religion. It wants to expand. It would like to be the main religion in this country if it possibly could. When we
What religion wouldn't?
Well, Judaism, for instance, wouldn't. And this is already a Christian country, so it's a slightly complicated thing to have Islam proselytizing and seeking to expand itself. And you go anywhere now and you'll see new mosques on high points in cities. You'll see open demonstrations of Muslim piety of this kind everywhere. It has a purpose. The thing is...
It's without a doubt that the UK in 2050, it's going to be maybe, like he's saying,
this. I'm all in favour of people being able to wear what they like, and I think that if we're going to have freedom for Islam to behave in this way, then we should also make sure that Christians are free to say and think and do what they like as well, which is increasingly becoming a problem. They're not, you know, and there are a lot of assaults on Christianity in the society. But the real point here about Islam is this: if it seeks to become the majority in the main religion in this country, does it really actually want all women to dress as Hamza does?
Today's debate is about whether Britain should ban the burqa. This is a sensitive and controversial
what do you think? Let me know in the comments. I don't know.
Which implemented a ban on wearing full-face veils, including the burqa and niqab.
I mean, I only know that the ones that you can only see the eyes, they are like, it's stressful because you can only see the eyes, and it's like, I don't know, a burglar or a warrior or ninja, something, and that is strange that you can see only the eyes. It's strange. Like, you should identify face when you go outside. But I don't know, banned or not banned. You should go outside how you want to go outside. So I don't know.
Public spaces in 2011. Jack Straw, the former Lord High Chancellor of Great Britain, has expressed his condemnation of women wearing the burqa. He argued that the full face covering makes communication difficult.
This is what I'm saying.
It could be a barrier to integration. Let us see a Muslim woman's perspective on wearing a burqa.
I cover my face out of my own choice. I choose to cover it, and partly because I'm a Muslim, and being a Muslim,
this is the look that I said it's too much. I don't know.
Does say to cover yourselves in a modest way, and I feel, I believe, covering your face is part of. YouTube is literally shutting my mouth. I can't say whatever I want. So I just leave my thoughts to myself. Dressing modestly to avoid attraction when you go out.
So the danger is I might be attracted to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. The reason I wear.
Are you attracted to her right now?
The hands and the face do not need to be.
Are you attractive to him? Should he wear a burqa?
Covered, but there are also scholars who say that yes, that it should be covered.
I think she is attracted to him, to the one who's asking the questions.
I feel it should be covered because.
What is his name? Mary's. She is attractive to Mary's. She wants to do Mary's.
The most attractive part of anybody is the face.
So is there a danger that males in the audience are attracted to every female in this studio's face who's here? Are they putting themselves in some kind of a...
Not necessarily every female face, but yeah, it could stir some sort of...
Passions?
Yes, absolutely.
Why would it not stir passions in a woman to see a man's face?
Good question.
Well, it's about the burqa, isn't it, and about the woman wearing a veil.
Yeah.
And it's about why women are wearing a veil.
Yes, but I'm interested, if it's about equality, and you feel a sense of liberation, don't you? Why should men not be required to cover their faces too?
Good question.
It's a good point, but...
It is?
I wouldn't question that. If this is how I understand that the scholars have said, then I would do it.
And it's God's will?
It's God's will. And if you out of your free will choose to be a Muslim, then that's part and parcel of it.
And you're closer to the Prophet, you feel?
Absolutely. You emulate the Prophet's life.
Oh.
Yeah. The question of why men don't wear the burqa left the woman dumbfounded as she tried to grasp the logic behind it. While the reasoning might seem a bit flawed, let's now see the panelists' takes on this divisive matter.
Emulating the Prophet's life, and also a sense of liberation. You know, she doesn't feel a slave to the fickleness of fashion and being judged.
I'm an imam in Oxford, and in my Friday sermon...
I didn't know that the Oxford have imams. What are they... They have priests too in Oxford and rabbis?
I gave 3 compelling reasons why we shouldn't allow the burqa and the niqab to become fashionable commodities.
Seriously, I thought that Oxford is like a place that you becoming like coming out as like an Einstein or Bill Gates or something, and okay, so you can be a big priest from Oxford, big imam from Oxford. I studied Imamism and the Quran in Oxford. Am I getting it right? I should check. Maybe I'll join. Maybe I'll learn something from them and can say I have a new title. I learned from the Imam of Oxford.
British society.
Should they be banned?
No, I think the British way is not to ban something because it becomes counterproductive. But I want to really elaborate on the 3 reasons, and I want the audience to consider these 3 reasons. The first reason is that nowhere in the Quran is the word burqa or niqab being used.
Oh, I see that, but he knows the material. This is nice.
No whatsoever. Also, the burqa and the niqab is a pre-Islamic custom coming from Byzantium and Persia and incorporating the Islamic society later. Second argument against the burqa and the niqab, that it is sexist and discriminatory. If it's okay for a Muslim woman to hide...
I like this Imam from Oxford. I got it wrong. I like him.
...the face, then Muslim men should hide their faces as well. We are not allowed to hide our face. I can't go into Barclays Bank or the post office or the government office with my balaclava or my motorcycle helmet. So why should we allow in this society, when we have gender equality, why should we allow Muslim women that right? But I need to develop
it through the course of the debate, because there's some potent points there. Hamza, please come back on.
Dr. Taj Hargey, an imam at the Summertown Mosque, argues that the practice of women covering their faces is discriminatory and sexist, given that men are not subject to similar rules. Various sources suggest that the customs of wearing a burqa, veils, and uncovering women's faces are not originally rooted in the Islamic community. Instead, they date back to the pre-Islamic period.
Mr. Hamza, please come back on those points. Then we'll open it up.
I've got to stress that it's a freedom of choice. I've chosen to cover my face. I'm not doing it because somebody else has told me to do it, or or I'm feeling suppressed into doing it.
So you're an agent, somebody sent you.
Scholars, now, you like other scholars, they use the hadith. For those of you who don't know, the hadith are the supposed sayings of the Prophet, mostly compiled 250 years after his death. Many, not all, but many are suspect and fraudulent.
But this is not subservience or subjugation. This is entirely your choice.
Absolutely, but it is true that the Prophet's wives would cover their faces. And to be close to the Prophet's lives and the Prophet's wives' lives.
I want to go outside and hold shit in my hands and go to Barclays with shit and then hold the shit all day in Barclays. This is free will. This is what I want to do. I should be able to do it. This is what I want. It's free country.
So if the Prophet's wives...
It's also a level of piety as well.
But the Quran itself says that the Prophet's wives are distinctive and different from other women. So you can't claim that bit. This issue is really something that you are saying it is religious. I'm quite happy for you, anyone to have freedom, but it's based on your cultural interpretation and not the religious requirement of Islam.
But Hamza, do you not see that it might some people find it alienating and some people find it threatening, because the face is such a vital part of our communication, is it not?
I have another question before she is answering. Why a lot of people with burqa, with this kind that you can see the face, buying makeups all the time? Why? You can't see the face. So what's the point? This is my question.
Agreed, but then we live in a free country and I think we should be able to dress as we please.
The Muslim woman asserts that wearing a burqa does not make her subservient or subjugated. Rather, it is a form of freedom of choice. She chooses to wear a burqa every day, and she believes that Britain should not take action to ban someone's way of living. Do you agree with this?
Dennis McEwen, we can't ban this, can we? This is ridiculous to say. We don't ban things in this country.
We don't ban things, but we can make it very difficult for people to do them. There are lots of things we make difficult. Hamza's problem, I think, is that she doesn't seem to have read any Islamic literature. If she reads the books, the articles, the fatwas, and listens to many of the sermons,
is it fatwa or fatwas?
All explaining that the reason a woman has to wear these forms of clothing is because the woman is inferior to men, it will incite lust in men, a woman should remain
He read
in
more,
her
he
home
knows, right?
unless her husband gives her permission to go outside the home.
So who is it more offensive to, women or men, this then?
I think it's offensive, actually, to an awful lot of people. It's offensive to Jewish, Christian and Hindu women who are chaste without dressing like this.
I've never heard so much rubbish. I don't know what sort of Islamic literature you're reading, but it certainly isn't the same Islamic literature I'm reading. I don't think Hamza should be criticised for her choice, her piety, but I think this is more. This is above religion. This is about a woman's choice to what she wants.
She became Muslim. She was like Christian. This is crazy and this is why Islam is the highest, one of the reasons that Islam is the highest growing religion in the world. And in the UK, it's because it's so easy. It's literally, if you want to become Muslim, you just go to, I'm not sure who, or I don't know who, and then he's saying few words. You're supposed to say a few words. I think that you can even say them in English. And that's it, you're a Muslim, you're in the club, that's it, it's easy. Go and try to see how hard it is to be a Christian, but go and see how much hard it is to be Jewish. It's nearly impossible. But Muslim, it's very easy, you just read a few lines, that's it. You're a Muslim, and then if you want, you can escalate, change your clothes, learn Arabic, and, getting stronger in the religion.
To wear. And I think that... But it's about time men like Sarkozy and Jack Straw stopped going into women's wardrobes.
Why is it okay for me to show my face but her not to show her face? That's discriminatory, isn't it?
That is her choice. She chooses to dress like that because it's part of her faith.
It's not part of her faith. It's part of a culture, a tribal tradition, the Wahhabi, the Salafi interpretation of Islam. This is the latest fad. Your mother never wore a burqa, so why are you wearing one?
Hamza?
My mother did wear a burqa.
Well, I'm not quite sure
What's so funny about it?
Anna Joy, you want to come in? Labour PPC.
Yeah, can I just bring a different perspective to this, because I think that you're quite wrong, actually.
Ooh.
If you look, I want to talk about the evolution of British women in the last 150 years, and I'm afraid, without trying to cause any offence to the young lady in front of me, your dresswear has absolutely nothing to say to me about the evolution of women, modern women in British society. If you look at the evolution of women's role in British society, from the vote through to equal pay, through to maternity leave, those are absolutely key moments.
Is it not her choice to wear what she wants to wear?
It is her choice, but
people go through. We see people in life,
Nikki,
Anna Joy, don't we, with bits of metal through their face.
Well, Nikki, but with the greatest respect, I think that this is a question about the kind of civil society that we in modern Britain want to live in the 21st century.
Okay.
And I think that the burqa does not have a place in a modern British civil society.
Against that,
I hear less claps.
It does show an evolution of British society, that maybe 150 years ago people weren't allowed to cover their faces because women weren't equal. But now they have the freedom to cover their faces, that's what they will.
That's rather paradoxical, isn't it?
It's a paradox. If it's an evolution of free will.
In what country?
You're not a father, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm Methodist.
What? Are they inventing stuff?
Yes.
Making up?
I think about that.
Sorry about that. Yes, that's a bit worrying for a man in a dog collar. What about this? Is this a sign, a symptom of subjugation?
I want to approach it from a purely pragmatic point of view. If we ban the burqa, or whatever it's called, I'm not even sure that's the right word for
Niqab,
it.
burqa, the general idea. Yeah.
If we ban that, where do we stop? Do we then go on to ban turbans, crosses, dog collars? Do we go on to ban everything else?
Maybe just covering your face.
Her face is being covered.
Although tracking the history and origin of wearing the burqa in Islam is difficult, here's what is mentioned in the Quran. Nowhere does it state that it is necessary for a woman to cover herself completely to be close to the Prophet. Instead, it is presented as a personal choice. The Islamic religion has often misinterpreted this, framing it as obligatory for women to cover themselves. In the 21st century, it should be seen as a choice, not a mandate. Whether a woman chooses to wear the burqa or not should be respected, no matter what.
But what, Peter Hitchens, what does it say about what they think about men, that our passions could be so easily inflamed? Look at all these bare faces that we've got in the studio. Are we all uncontrollable sex beasts?
I have another question. If somebody got like 5 wives, how can he know who is who if they're all covering their faces?
So something.
Well, I was going to ask you, Hamza, if she wouldn't mind.
I really want to know. I'm not joking. Like, if they're in the same height and shape.
Do you feel, as you look around here, that all the other women here should be dressed as you are?
It's personal choice.
It is their choice now, but in the kind of society you would presumably
Good
prefer,
question.
it might not be so much
I
of a
think
choice.
it would be a safer society.
Oh.
You think it would be a safer society if they all wore what you wore?
Absolutely.
But isn't this the problem with Islam, that it is, in fact, when it's a minority religion, it's all very liberal and open and a matter of choice. But if it becomes the majority religion and controls the society, then the choice goes, and people are told what to do, and it isn't your choice.
No, not at all. I don't agree with that, because, like the gentleman across there says, it's not by force. You can choose to be a Muslim. If you've chosen to be a Muslim, then obviously everything within Islam is what you're going to be,
But what you and people like you don't answer, and I really want to answer, if the Quran is the transcendent, immutable, divine text, why didn't God put in the word niqab or burqa? And for example, the issue is really, this is not...
Also something that not specified in the Quran is Palestine, by the way. It's also not there.
Something that is required by religion. Religion asks for modesty. It doesn't dictate the modesty. What you're wearing is a Saudi Wahhabi thing, tribal dress.
Hamza, I'm interested in, Peter asked you a very interesting question, I'm interested in why this would be, in your ideal society, why it would be safer if all women, for example, in the studio and as we walk the streets and go about our business, were covered as you are.
I'm not going to say cover as I am. I'm saying if everybody dressed in a more modest way and didn't maybe more looser clothing, etc. I think there'd be.
What do you think then when you see the way that some young women dress in this country with just everything hanging out? What do you think?
There's loads of problems in society. It's a very unhealthy society that we live in. There are so many problems. There are very young kids.
But if everybody migrants, so why they move to a place that have so much problems in the society? I don't understand. He just spoke about integration, right? So why they move to the UK if it's such a big problem with how everybody dressed?
There are which you do not find in not so many in the Islamic culture.
Patricia?
I think it's very, very dangerous to look at a society and for one woman to blame other women for the ills of what is done to us as women. If the argument is that wearing something like this repels sexual harassment and all sorts of other kind of harassment, I think that in every situation of harassment, discrimination, sexist behaviour, anything like that, the responsibility is on the perpetrator, not on the victim. It's not good enough for us to say, oh, look at these Western women with everything hanging out. We have every right to do exactly what we like. A woman has a right to walk down the street naked and not be harassed or attacked.
Yeah.
Miriam?
To be honest,
that sounds good, right?
I completely agree, but what I would add is that it's completely irrelevant what Hamza thinks of young women down the street or what you or I think about Hamza. At the end of the day, what feminist battles were fought in this country, what the feminist achievements were the right for women to self-determination, to make decisions for ourselves, be it about contraception, be it about marriage, be it about how we dress, be it about whether we mould our bodies to the conception.
Isn't she saying, I don't want to be part of your society by covering her face up?
This is a question you have to ask her, and that's a question she's responded to you by saying no. She's saying to you, this is a choice I find empowering, and feminism is about supporting women who found empowerment, whatever route they find their empowerment through.
Claire?
I mean, it's ironic in a way that we can only have this conversation about the woman's right to choose in the West, where we have the kind of guarantee of equal rights for women before the law. And in other countries, women are forced to wear the burqa. It's not a matter of free choice. And so... Yes, because in a way we need the language of the West. We need the language, which is a language coming out of a non-Islamic kind of tradition, to make the case that women are free to wear the burqa.
There's a European Muslim culture, and we're discussing it from within a European Muslim culture, and it's absolutely outrageous.
So are you saying that within Islamic culture, the language is completely a free choice?
The fact of the matter is there is a European Muslim culture in which there is, of course, influence from the language and the debates which have enriched Muslim culture in this country.
Wait. Am I in danger of having my passions inflamed by seeing your face?
Personally, obviously, and again, I think my opinion on this is completely irrelevant. The fact of the matter
I don't think it's irrelevant.
Well, I think it is, because the discussion shouldn't be about what you think or I think. It should be about women's choice to make decisions about their own bodies for themselves.
Have I got a right to feel insulted that somebody thinks I would be inflamed if I saw their face?
Only if you assume that that's what they're thinking, and I think for quite a large portion of these women, that's not what they're thinking.
Yes,
Peter Hitchens raises important points about the complexity of societal safety and individual freedoms. The idea that modesty and dress alone could create a safer society is a contentious one. It simplifies a much more nuanced issue that involves personal freedom, societal values, and the dynamics of respect and accountability. Peter Hitchens rightly questioned Hamza's opinion that society would potentially be safer if women dressed modestly. There is a concern that if Islam were to become a majority religion, it could become quite overpowering and controlling. Wearing the burqa should be a choice, but in many contexts, it is not. Hamza's understanding of the burqa seems quite shallow. A society's safety is determined by a woman's dress and how others perceive and treat her. True freedom of choice means that women should have the right to decide their attire without facing harassment. If a woman is being harassed, the problem lies with the perpetrator, not with the woman's clothing choices.
Someone earlier mentioned the word piety, and we haven't talked about that at all, and I think that's quite key, because in some Christian traditions, like, you have nuns who will, wear veils and things, and when they join a religious order, maybe they're told that they have to do that. And yes, they've made a choice to join the religious order, but what they do is an act of piety. They're not saying everyone has to do it. And I think it's very interesting because you mentioned that it's an act of piety. So, I don't know, maybe you'd like to elaborate on that, because I think it's quite important.
Well, let me bring it, Father Stephen in. Nasser, I will come to you and Hamza again. But the difference is we can see, with a nun, we can see her face.
I was thinking I teach at a secondary school here in New York, and I took some of the teenagers to one of the convents for Mass, to see them and to talk to them. And one of the great things was that they, when we were walking home to school, some of the kids were saying, "Gosh, Father, we didn't realise they were so happy." They were quite genuinely shocked that somebody could become a nun, give their life to God,
but they could see
and
their
still
face.
Be happy. But they could see their face. And my friend here is right. There are pious traditions that are associated.
Yeah, I think that everybody here agreed that the problem is that you can see the face, not the face, the fucking face.
With different religions, and it's their choice. It's totally our friend his choice, and we shouldn't persecute her for that. And this is England. We don't ban things that aren't harmful.
Not ban, but if I want to point at somebody and then laugh, ha 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 ha, I can see your face. Am I allowed to do that? I'm not going to do it. And maybe I'm allowed to do it, but I'm not going to do it.
To other people. However, I would just say a pure observation, and I don't mean this judgmentally at all, but what I mean is I've been sitting here for the last 3/4 of an hour, and I can see you smile. I can see you're a happy Muslim, and that encourages me. I mean that genuinely, and it's nothing to take away from you at all, but it's just that I can see that, and it's a witness to me that you're happy in your Muslim faith. Just that, hopefully, I come across as a happy priest, and the nuns did to the children. It's just that also maybe just add that element of witness.
Father, if you're happy, we're happy. Peter, go on.
Just dwell slightly upon a point here.
Okay.
Islam in this country is a proselytizing religion. It wants to expand. It would like to be the main religion in this country if it possibly could.
What religion wouldn't?
Well, Judaism, for instance, wouldn't. And this is already a Christian country, so it's a slightly complicated thing to have Islam proselytizing and seeking to expand itself. And you go anywhere now and you'll see new mosques on high points in cities. You'll see open demonstrations of Muslim piety of this kind everywhere. It has a purpose. The thing is this: I'm all in favour of people being able to wear what they like, and I think that if we're going to have freedom for Islam to behave in this way, then we should remember we should also make sure that Christians are free to say and think and do what they like as well, which is increasingly becoming a problem. They're not, and there are a lot of assaults on Christianity in the society at the moment. But the real point here about Islam is this: if it seeks to become the majority in the main religion in this country, does it really actually want all women to dress as Hamza does? I suspect it does, and I think that's the argument we should really be having, not about her right to do as she wishes, which I wouldn't want to interfere with, but with what Islam actually wants in this society.
Can I just challenge Peter a second?
Please do.
I mean, I would like to know how many people in here have been pressurized or approached by a Muslim to convert to Islam.
Why are they clapping? There is like conversion centers everywhere across Manchester. So what?
I would really like to, if
Oh, I see who is clapping. Yeah, I see who is clapping.
Really like to, if anybody
It doesn't take that form, Yvonne. It's the form it takes is that you send your child to a Christian school and he comes home and he says he's been asked to design a mosque. And this happens a lot.
Nasser, you want to come in here?
Islam is very strong.
You met Diane.
Hitchens rightly addresses the issue of the growing Muslim population in the UK. Given the increase in mosques and various other Islamic practices in the country, he firmly believes that this is a Christian country and that Christians should ensure their heritage is not subjugated or tarnished. He argues that Christians should assert boundaries and speak out against any assaults on their faith. He also questions whether, if Islam were to become the majority religion, the community would expect every woman to dress according to Islamic norms, as Hamza suggests. If they do, is it fair to expect this? Let us know in the comments. If you want to stay tuned to such heated arguments on interesting topics, be sure to subscribe to our channel.
Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you for watching.